If you're using images and audio with P5, you do need to have them stored on some kind of server. Um, but I want to show an alternative to using GitHub. And just first, that is an option. Like I'm logged into GitHub and I set up a folder, a repository specifically for my class images. And I'm just going to complain for a minute because I find GitHub difficult to use, just to be honest. I don't think the interface is well designed at all. It's actually very jargony and not a clear hierarchy, and it's just hard to use. I found it pretty easy, by the way, to find add file and upload the images. But from there, I found it difficult to find the path. I'm going to bring this up for a second. And it took me quite a while to actually find this pattern, which is working. But again, I'll kind of complain. I did not find kind of an easy spot to copy code. And I spent maybe 40 minutes kind of like clicking on things, right clicking, looking for options. I tried a lot of variations too of just kind of pulling this address and then adding slash file name, things like that. Not working. Finally, a Google search found this post, of other people trying to accomplish the same thing. And this pattern worked for me, the browser link. So thanks to this person for their response. But I also am kind of irritated because I can't really figure out like how they figured that out, to be honest. But I use this raw GitHub user account.com/, and then I started to insert my own information from there. But that still feels mysterious. So part of the idea is that maybe we can use P5 as a repository of images or audio. I think it's easier. And I'll leave this up for a moment if you do want to look at this path, which is functioning, by the way. But let's go back into the browser and I'll bring up P5 editor. And I have the same code here. And just as a reminder, if you are adding images or audio, just to run through the steps quickly, you do need to create a variable name, like let here, puppy image 1. And then preload is the area where you're assigning the actual image path to your variable name. And it kind of makes it available. You can also say that as soon as you hit run, it's attempting to make these images available. It starts the download process before they're called in the code. And then I think of it as 3 steps, like create the variable, assign the path of the picture to it or audio file. And the third step is actually calling it in the code. So down here in setup, you'll see image. That's function name is then allowing you to put in position variables and also the variable name. It's kind of calling the picture. So there's 2 pictures here, and then puppy sound is the variable name that is essentially calling the audio. And then dot autoplay true is making it just play immediately to kind of break that down. Don't forget that the code runs down so that any objects that would sit on top of your images should be lower in the code. So this might be good to have background images and audio defined in the setup function. So they're on the bottom along with your background. And then have text, objects, other things that you want to appear on top of the pictures could fall in the draw function as a good strategy. And I'll go ahead and run this for you. Stop it. So you can hear that that's functioning, that it's playing the sound automatically. You saw the images load in a couple of shapes on top. I want to circle back to the path. If you want to store them right on P5, it actually makes the path pretty simple. So I'm going to show you how to do this. If you look on the left, you'll see I have some files here, but maybe that is hidden for you. So the first little thing to notice is this little tiny triangle that's just above your line numbers. And you could toggle it open to see files created. And normally in a brand new sketch, you'll see 3 files Usually we're conscious of the JavaScript we've been typing, which is located in my sketch file. But anytime you do something like file new, P5 is also generating an HTML file, which is kind of interesting. It doesn't really have any content in it, but it's referencing your script right there. And then it also has a CSS file with kind of minimal data in it. So those are generated automatically. They're stored here automatically. Again, I got here by opening the little triangle. And then if you want to add images, I'll show you that process. And I think, by the way, it's a good idea to create a folder to organize those. You don't have to, but you could be more organized by doing that. And the idea is once this side panel is open, there's a little drop down arrow here that leads you to more options. So first you could just upload a file directly, and then your path is simply the file name. But I think that gets a little messy if there's a lot of files. So what I did is I decided I'll make a images folder and a sound folder. So my process was I hit create folder. And just as an example, I'll type in images 2. And then in order to drop the new pictures into that folder, just make sure you select your folder name and then use its drop down arrow instead of the main one at the top. And then you can choose upload file here. And then at this point, I just drag in images. It's also the same process for sound. I had chosen new folder, made a sound folder, and then just made sure it was selected, and I clicked upload file. And same thing, I just dragged in my MP3 file there. And then you can toggle open the folders and you can see what's inside. And then, by the way, to get back to viewing the code, you might wonder, like, why is this area blank? Just go back and choose the JavaScript file when you want to return into your editor mode. So once you made a folder and then uploaded files, look how simple your path is for load image. So assuming you have a folder, it's just the folder name / and then your file name. I want to remind you not to put spaces in your file names for any kind of web use. And then that's it. If you'd skip the folder and just directly uploaded loose, then your file name in the path would just be the file name, basically. But I do recommend making the folder. It helps you organize your work.